Hello everyone, my name is Katie and I'm a third grade teacher in the state of Florida. I'm about to start my 7th year teaching and back to school literally starts tomorrow. So I thought we would kick off the back to school season with a back to school Q&A. Okay, I already feel like I've said the word back to school like 1,000 times, but I did one of these last year, and it was really fun to answer you guys' questions just before the craziness of back to school. What? Okay, that was strange. You can see the flashing light, so I'm so sorry. I don't know when that's gonna turn off. Fingers crossed that it does soon, but at least the alarm's not going off anymore. I literally sat down, just started that video, and then the fire alarm went off. As I was going to say, school starts tomorrow, so all teachers come back tomorrow. The office staff is here today, and then just a few teachers are in working on stuff in their room. But that's it as far as he's here today. So that was a fun little practice fire drill. Ugh. Okay, but as I was going to say, I put a question box on my Instagram for you guys and also on my YouTube community page, and I'm working on pulling up the questions that I pulled together to answer for you guys in this video. So thank you so much. First off, you guys asked so many great questions, so thank you so much for responding to that. And I hope this video is helpful for you and gives you some ideas and some answers to some questions you had before I go back to school and the back to school craziness begins. Although apparently it's already begun because it was with the fire alarm on a random Wednesday when nobody's here. But anyways, hopefully the light will stop flashing. If not, it's just going to keep you guys awake. So let's get started with the Q&A. All right, the first question, I got this one a couple of times, is I'm a first year teacher. Do you have any tips? I thought I'd answer this one first. If you sent me this question, I tried to DM you on Instagram or reach out to you on YouTube and give you the link to my first year teacher tip video because I have a video dedicated just to tips for first year teachers. So I'm going to link that above in the cards. So that you can go see that video because it gives all my tips for first year teachers. So rather than giving all the tips again, go watch that video, check it out. I really put a lot of time and thought into what would I want to share with my first year teacher self when I made that video. So if you're a first year teacher and you're looking for tips, go check out that video. The next question I got is, what does your first day of school look like? Do you have some favorite activities? And I'd love to see a rundown of your schedule. Again, I put this one at the beginning because I'm going to defer to another video. As far as this year goes, our schedule is not completely set in stone yet, and I don't have my first day planned yet. I'm planning on filming a Plan With Me video, hopefully, for the first day of school. But I do have one from 2 years ago, the first year I taught third grade, and I did something very similar last year where I ran through my entire schedule and exactly what I was doing, I think, the first 2 days of school. So I will link that video above in the cards. So if you're interested to see, I'm keeping a lot of the same activities that I did then. I'm going to do them again this year. It just might look different because my schedule might look a little bit different. But that's kind of the outline of my plan that I have right now. So again, I'm going to defer you to another video if you're interested in my first day of school plans. I heard the fire alarm going off in the hallway. Oh well. All right, next question was, how long are your planning periods? And what things do you usually put on your to-do list for that time? And how do you use your planning times at school to have a good work-life balance? So I had a couple questions about work-life balance. At the Get Your Teach On conference this year, Amelia Capitosa mentioned this in her last session that she had with us. And she, the way she answered this question was she doesn't believe there's such thing as work-life balance. She said that you kind of have phases and seasons and capacity. So she's when your work capacity is high and you're doing a lot for school, your home capacity will be lower. And when your home capacity is higher, your work capacity will be lower. And so the idea of it being perfectly balanced doesn't really exist, but balanced as in the ebb and flow and the give and take between the two, yes. So keeping a to-do list for my planning periods is super helpful for me to make sure I can keep that ebb and flow as balanced as possible and that I'm not way off for long periods of time, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my approach to work-life balance. As far as what I do during my planning periods, we have team meetings some days, but I really try to get a lot of my copies done and most of my lesson planning done. And that kind of goes in phases as well. When I taught first grade, and I was more Monday to Friday was a unit, Monday, Friday, it was easier for me to say like Tuesdays are the days that I plan for the next week. Wednesdays are the days that I get my copies ready. And I actually have a whole video on time management tips for teachers. I know I'm just saying like watch this video, but I've put a lot of effort into making videos that are useful for you guys. And I know some of you are new to my channel, and this time management video was literally from when I taught first grade, so it's probably 3 years ago, but the time management tips still stand. So I will link that above in the cards as well. I think I'll put them all in the description too, because I don't know how many videos I can link in the cards without being able to like max that out. But I get 45 minutes for planning, so it's pretty quick, but I also have time in the morning and a little bit of time in the afternoon. So I try to stretch out my tasks, and I'm always keeping a running to-do list in my planner of things that I need to get done. That way, when it comes to planning time, I just go on the to-do list. Like I'll make that checklist sometimes in the mornings of things that I like anticipate that I know I'm gonna need to do. So I don't have to think, because I only have 45 minutes. I don't have time to sit and think, what do I need to do? I have time to look at a list and say, all right, I'm doing that. So that helps me. Do you have something new that you're excited to try this year? And this kind of goes with your favorite thing you learned at Get Your Teach On and how you'll implement it. So I'll tag those two questions together. I really enjoyed Joanne Miller's sessions at Get Your Teach On, and she is head over heels for teaching on Instagram if you want to follow her. But one of her sessions was about accountable student talk. And I just kind of sat there and I was like, I've done this curriculum twice now. The first year was rocky. The second year, we figured out how to make it work to teach our benchmarks. And I feel like this year is the year that I put more engaging things in my whole group for my students and give them opportunities to talk in meaningful ways, not just turn and talk and answer this question, which is good and is a good starting point. But she had a lot of great ideas with like talking chips. And I'm really excited to use that, where you have like a little container of like little, essentially counting chips or poker chips, and each student takes 2, and then you give them a series of questions, and once they answer a question or they share, they put a chip in the middle, and when they run out of both of their chips, they can't talk anymore until everybody's used all their chips. So it kind of requires people to add on and build conversations with each other, and so I'm really excited to use that. She also had a lot of other ideas like table talk questions and discussion jobs, like somebody's the introducer, somebody's the expander, somebody's the questioner. And I'm really excited to try to use some of those as my students are talking about the text that we're learning to just extend that whole group. Y'all, I'm so sorry that the lights are still flashing. I hope this is not annoying. If so, you can just like not watch and listen. Okay, next question, we'll stick with Get Your Teach On while we're there, is were the PD sessions at Get Your Teach On actually worthwhile, especially for someone who would be paying out of pocket and not being sent by their district? I paid out of pocket to go to Get Your Teach On this year. I know my district and my school specifically sends teachers and does pay for the registration cost. It just wasn't in the budget for this year, but for me, it was like it's in Florida, it's close by. I've always wanted to go, like, this is my time to go to the Nationals Conference, and so I decided to do it. I would say that yes, it was worthwhile. I don't go to a lot of PD though beyond my school walls, and so I feel like the PD sessions were a chance for me to see inside somebody else's classroom, and I think those experiences are so valuable. I appreciated that a lot of the speakers are current classroom teachers too. Not that there's anything wrong with somebody who was a classroom teacher and now is a presenter, because I understand how like the balance works, right? But some of the presenters were classroom teachers, and they're like, this is a video of my kids from this year using this strategy. And I really, really appreciated that and liked that. I think it was great to make connections with other educators and just to sit and learn. And there were a lot of sessions. I did 12 sessions that were all an hour and 15 minutes long in a span of 3 days. Plus they had like morning and afternoon keynotes, which weren't really PD sessions, but were also very inspiring. So I would say it's definitely worthwhile. I don't know if I would go back to the Nationals Conference again for a while unless I was going with coworkers. Like I wouldn't go back solo, I don't think. Not because I didn't like it, but just because I feel like I would get more out of it if I went with my coworkers the next time to the Nationals Conference. But I know they have other conferences in Vegas, and then they have one that's like from the vault that they do in one of the Carolinas. I think it's North Carolina, where they take old PD sessions and they bring them back, and I think that would be really cool too. So I thought the PD sessions were worth it. The way one of the presenters described it was like they're gonna give you like, your curriculum is like a box of cake mix, and if you follow the directions, like sure, you'll get a cake, but you know, there's so many ways to spice up and make the cake more interesting. And so Juan Gonzalez was like, I'm giving you the extra stick of butter. I'm giving you the pineapple to turn it into a pineapple upside down cake, to take the curriculum and the things that you're required to use in your district, because we can't change that, and kind of transform them into something that's going to be more engaging for your students. So that's kind of what the presentations, like I would say that's how I would describe it. It was taking what you do and how can we take it up to the next level. So I think it was definitely worth it, but it is a big not time investment. It's a big, well, it was it was like 4 or 5 days. It is a big financial investment. So if it's something you're interested in, just start saving a little bit at a time, because I thought it was worth it. And I also just felt very poured into as a human being and as a teacher, and to see all these other teachers that are all in the same boat as you, it's just very encouraging. So I would say it was worth it. But start saving a little bit at a time, because I know it's a lot of money. I know. What type of planner do you use? I have my planner here. I shared it last summer when I got it. I've used Happy Planners. I've used Erin Condren. I've made my own with the Happy Planner Puncher. And I'm just using a $15 planner from TJ Maxx. In fact, I need to get a new one because I only have till December with this one. But the reason I picked it is because I like having my planner laid out like this. This is just a random page from July that's empty. I like having this box over here that I write the things that I have for the day. So like if I had a meeting, I would write it in this box. If I had Bible study, I write it in this box. And then it has these lines on the side. And that's where I put that Reading to-do list. And I can make my to-do list for the whole week. So like I can sit there on Monday and say, okay, I know I need to make copies, but I know I'm not going to have time to make those copies until Wednesday. So I'm going to go ahead and write it on my Wednesday list. So when I get to Wednesday, I know it's something I have to do. So I've loved this. It was from either TJ Maxx or Home Goods, one of those last summer. I haven't found one that's exactly like it yet this summer. But I'll keep looking and hopefully I find something, but I have till December with this one. Okay, next one is, what are your classroom rules? I'm gonna defer to my to my video for like the first week of school again if you really want in-depth details, but I make a list of classroom promises with my students. We have 3 school rules, which are be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. Yeah, be safe, respectful, and responsible. Those are our 3 school rules. So at the beginning of the year, I read the book I Promise by LeBron James, and then I ask the students what they are willing to do to make our classroom a safe and fun environment for each other. And I make that list up on the board, and those are like our classroom rules for the year, but then I show them how they fall into those categories. So we color code them, so we go through be safe, or like which one of these promises that you guys just said you would make falls under be safe and helps us follow that school rule. And then we'll do like be kind is pink, or be respectful. Which ones of these fall under being respectful, like taking turns, cleaning up our area, taking care of supplies. I'm like, see, all these things that you're promising, follow the school rules, and then be safe, respectful, responsible, same thing. So we just kind of make a list of class promises, if that makes sense. And my big thing is like, as long as you are doing your best to learn and you're allowing others to learn. Like if you're not allowing others to learn, we've got a problem. That's kind of like my classroom rules, I guess. And the kids kind of help me come up with it at the beginning of the year. But they usually come up with some of the same things, like walk in the classroom, take turns, use kind words to each other, things like that, that are good etiquette anyways. Is anyone else in your family a teacher? Yes, my mom is a teacher. She taught preschool for years, and she's currently teaching kindergarten. She's taught kindergarten for like 3 years now in a row, because she took some time off and then did preschool on and off. But she is a kindergarten teacher at like a classical homeschool. I almost said homebrew because I don't know why I was thinking of like coffee, like cold brew coffee. Homeschool hybrid. So she teaches like 8 to noon, 4 days a week, and then also provides things for the students, and they work at home with their families through her church where she lives. So, but she loves it, and we are always swapping teacher stories. It's great. Are you required to submit a classroom management plan? I am not. I was in college, but my classroom management class in college was not the greatest, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But I do have a classroom management plan. Like we come up with all those promises. I have the Wheel of Excellence, which people ask me about all the time, so I'll bring it up again. It's over here when I catch students who are working really hard, following class commitments, going above and beyond. They go sign their name next to one of the numbers. When all of the numbers are full, I spin the wheel 3 times, and if it lands on their name, they get to pick a prize from the treasure box, the sticker store, or I have coupons like Random Go Noodle or pick the music that we work to for the day, things like that. Because my philosophy for 3rd grade is by the time they're in 3rd grade, I don't think they need not all students. Now, some students might, and that's different. That's going to be individualized behavior. But in general, I don't think they all need a sticker every time they push in their chair because they're in third grade. Like, you're going to have to start doing some of these things because they're the right things to do and because you know you should be doing those things. But I feel like that is a good way to highlight when students are doing well, specifically praise what they did well. Like, oh, you put your name on your paper and you were ready to go as soon as I was ready to give directions. I appreciate that hustle. Sign the wheel of excellence. They go sign it, so I don't have to manage like passing out a ticket or punching a card or something. They go sign their name. Their name's up on the board, which is like a point of pride for them. But then when it comes to the prize, not everybody gets a prize every time. The more you're up there, the more likely you are to get a prize. But like writing your name on the board and being recognized was part of the prize. And you don't get a sticker or a treasure box item every time because you just don't get a sticker every time in life you do something right. But you do get rewards, so there's still rewards attached to it. What to include for Meet the Teacher? I would say ask your school because for Meet the Teacher, it's a lot of school required forms like registration cards, clinic cards, and things like that. I have like one Meet the Teacher paper that's like about me, and I have one specific student information form for me, and that's about all. Oh, and I put in there like the movie form for PG movies and their activity fee information. And that's really it. I don't give a whole lot at Meet the Teacher. We do have, at my school though, we have like an open house type thing that comes in the first month and a half of school. And so that's when I'll give them my flip book with a lot more detail. But I'll share details with them also like via email and via my communication method in those first couple weeks of school. But when we have the open house is when I give them more detailed information because there's just so many forms that Meet the Teacher that my school requires. And that's been the case everywhere I've taught. This will be my 7th year, and every year there are forms that they're like, you need to have these and get these from your parents before they leave your room. I'm like, check, got it, totally fine. So that's honestly what Meet the Teacher is. It's just required forms. All right, we got like 3 more. If there was one teaching task you could pay someone else to do, what would it be? I should have thought about this one before I read it to answer it because I was like, ooh, that's a good question. Well, one thing I hate doing is ripping out textbook pages, but I like having the pages ripped out. I don't pay anyone to do that. My husband is amazing and he rips out my textbook pages for me because he likes to just put in a podcast and he can do it way better than me. So if I didn't have the wonderful David to do that for me, I would pay somebody to rip out my textbook pages. I had a homeroom mom do that 2 years ago for me. She ripped out every story and I was like, I could cry. Yeah, it was just so nice. Another teaching task that I would pay someone else for, I really hate sorting papers into student mailboxes because I just feel like they pile up sometimes and I blink and I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta go sort all of those. But lately I've been like vlogging while I sort papers, which has been a good way to multitask, so that's not too bad. Making copies sucks, but I don't know if I'd pay someone else to do it if it's worth my money. Because it's just part of teaching. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that might be it. I don't like duty either. I really, really don't like afternoon duty. So I would pay somebody to do afternoon duty for me, I feel like. Yeah. It's just never been my jam. I'm okay with morning duties because I'm fresher in the morning, but afternoon duty, I'm like, I'm so done. And yeah, so we'll go with that. And I just like, for my afternoon duty, I think last year we did like a week on, a week off. And for a week I was in the music room with car riders calling names on the app. And then the next week I didn't have it. So yeah, and I've been at schools where you like put kids in the cars. I actually don't mind putting kids in the cars, except in Florida when it's really, really, really hot. That was not fun, but it's just afternoon duty, I think would be the answer to that. And then the last one is one thing that you're not looking forward to for back to school and one thing that you are. So one thing I'm not looking forward to is I just feel like summer went so fast. I'm gonna miss my like chill mornings, but also my morning and afternoon workouts. Like my midday kickboxing class that I've been taking has been super fun, and having like that kind of flexibility to feel like that's easy to put into my schedule has been really nice. And I'm gonna try maybe to do a workout class a week or something and get back into, I'm already into some routines from the summer, but try to stay with some of those routines, but we'll see what happens there. So I think that's what I'm gonna miss the most is just the chill mornings. I I just feel like summer went so quick. I had a lot of things that like took up chunks of my time. Like my brother got married. David had his work convention. I had COVID in the middle, and so that knocked out a week of my summer. I went to Get Your Teach On, and so that knocked out a week of my summer. So I really had like maybe 2 weeks, not counting the COVID week, that I was here. And you saw all of those weeks were spent here in my classroom setting up, which is fine because I really enjoyed that and I loved it. And that's like therapeutic for me to come in, work a little bit, and kind of like have a little routine for my day. But I think that's why it feels like it went so fast. And then the last one is one thing you are looking forward to. I'm looking forward to being around my coworkers again. I've missed them. I feel like I haven't seen them all summer, and like just peeking in people's rooms and saying hey has been so fun. And I like the back to school season, and I like the fall. I really like football season is coming up, and then we'll have Thanksgiving, and then like Christmas is a long ways away, but just like the fall, October, Thanksgiving, football-ish, I love. And so I don't mind when we get to back to school, I kind of like can focus on that some, like, oh, it's getting to be like one of my favorite times of the year, because that just kind of helps keep it positive, you know? But I'd say like being around my coworkers. I'm also very excited to teach again, like going to the Get Your Teach On conference and watching videos from their classroom and seeing them present. I was like, I do love getting up and teaching a good lesson, but back to school, like going back to one thing I'm not looking forward to, I always kind of get stuck in do I remember how to do this? Like, am I gonna stand up in front of a class and remember how to teach a rockin' ELA lesson? Or am I gonna be like, what do I do with you people? So that always gives me a little anxiety going back, but after like the first couple weeks, I'll be like back in the groove, and I really do love teaching lessons, and so I'm excited, very excited to do that. So I think that's it for my back to school Q&A. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me, and I'm still so sorry about the flashing fire alarm lights, but I'm glad the alarm at least went off so I could do this Q&A with you guys. I'm planning, I don't have a clue when this video is going to go up because my uploading schedule, I skipped a day. I got a lot of things to share with you guys on YouTube, and then I know the first couple weeks of school are like hard to vlog, and so hopefully this content will like help bridge that gap of when I'm not vlogging. But hopefully whenever you watch this, it's helpful for you. Please like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and that way you don't miss whatever's coming next on my channel. I can't even tell you what video is coming next because my uploading schedule is whack, but I'm gonna try to make content for you guys because I've just gotten so much great feedback from people saying like that it was really helpful, and so that's my goal. I want to connect with you guys, and I feel like going to Get Your Teach On was really fun because I got to connect with people who follow me and like say hey and actually chat with some of you guys, but I also want to be helpful for you guys. I want it to be entertaining and like feel like we're friends, but also that you get something practical out of it. So if you do me a favor and you made it to the end of this back to school Q&A, comment below some things that you'd love for me to show in vlogs this upcoming school year, because when I have something targeted, it makes it easier to vlog. So I can be like, oh yeah, I'm in a vlog and show them this. So that would be super helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yay, back to school. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.